Elemental! Do damage. Do damage, guys. Oh, yes. This is what I like to see. This is what I like to see. This is the damage we like to see, guys. Earth Elemental power with the Kyrian. If it works right, it works right. That's all I have to say about the double Earth Element or double Legendary Earth Elemental. Again, we're gonna get about 9 seconds of Earth Elemental here as well with Vesper Totem, so that's kind of cool. Let's try and activate it. Our Earth Elemental is gone right now. So that was actually a pretty good usage. Definitely like that usage for sure. But it's just so awkward to make Earth Elemental workable. Because if it dies, it feels so bad to waste a 5-minute cooldown. That means we should probably have Earth Elemental ready for the second boss. We have 4 minutes on it. It should be ready by the second boss. It is a tyrannical week, so I'm hoping for the best. So we're gonna have it ready for the second boss, and then hopefully we're gonna get it ready for the at least one more usage, possibly 2 more usages after that. So definitely something interesting. I am using the 4-set bonus. It's something that I've been testing on my Resto Shaman for quite a while. People have been talking about Chain Devastation Legendary, and we try and test the Chain Devastation Legendary. I might do that later on as well. But right now I feel I've done a decent amount of testing on Resto Shaman. I'm going to move on something like a Holy Paladin. Let me know what healer you would want me to test. Because I think there's so many double legendary combinations available out there. Let's do damage, because that's the whole point of healers. It's quite interesting to see what the new affix is going to be, because I think the new affix will or can shape the meta. Like, we have to see, maybe the new affix is gonna have infinite mana to certain healers, and if you have infinite mana, that makes certain legendaries better, because there are certain legendaries that work a lot better if you have no mana constraints and you don't have to drink and things like that. So right now we're waiting. Hopefully next week or 2 we're gonna have new Mythic Plus affix at least talked about. The 4-set bonus in Mythic Plus, I said this multiple times, I'm not a huge fan of it in Mythic Plus, purely because a lot of the cooldown reduction is dependent on your chain heal spamming, and I'm not really using chain heal spam. So that's something that I don't get at all. I do enjoy the fact that your Cloudburst gives you free chain heal, the fact that your Mana Tide gives you free chain heal, Spirit Link, Healing Tide. That free chain heal usually accounts for a decent portion of my overall healing. So it's nothing to be like dismissive of. The free chain heals are definitely worth the value of the tier set. But the fact that the tier set, and I talked about this before, the fact that the tier sets certain items, they have mastery on it, which again, if you're pushing Mythic Plus content as a healer right now, you want to steer clear of mastery because you want to deal damage. So some of the itemization of the tier sets is not fantastic. The fact that you're losing out domination shards is not fantastic. From the initial testing, from what I've seen so far, so on live servers, healers, DPS, tanks, they're all using domination shards. They're all using the DPS domination shards, the ones that give you, you know, like 1%, 2% increased damage and things like that. Everyone's using it. In 9.2, every class is going to get their own tier set. And some of the tier sets, especially for healers, those tier sets give you like a minuscule amount of damage. And by damage I mean gives you healing, so you don't have to heal as much and you might be able to give out a bit more DPS. But I can tell you right now that certain healers are actually going to lose DPS by using tier set bonuses and replacing domination gear. So just be aware of the fact that your overall healing or DPS as a healer in 9.2, of course double legendaries are going to help with that. They're going to help you increase the damage, but some of that DPS is going to be lost. So just be prepared for, you know, your expectations. Guys, this is where we're going to use our Earth Elemental. I use Excited. I said I use Excited. Go Earth Elemental! Oh, he actually lost a little bit of HP. Cloudburst, Riptide, Riptide. Come on. We need more damage. We need more DPS. Let's go. Our Earth Elemental is still 35 seconds left on it. This is the prime. This is where Earth Elemental Legendary is going to shine. Tyrannical Weeks used on bosses. Very little chance of pulling aggro. Very little chance of actually dying. Okay, we have 22 seconds. We have to see if we're going to get another... I want to get another wave here. Our Vesper Totem is ready in about... Okay, I'm going to use this here. 13 seconds. I Dispel. We use damage. I have to heal, unfortunately. Earth Elemental, 5 seconds. 1 second. Mobs die too quickly. Mobs die too quickly, guys. We need more mobs to be alive so I could pad the damage. Sweet, sweet pad. With the spell, I get dispelled as well. Again, this is something that is exciting. The Earth Elemental can actually do a lot of damage. Like, if you look at the overall damage here, Earthquake was actually my top DPS ability. The problem is, you have to use your brain when you use it. And if you don't have brain like me, it becomes a lot more difficult. We need Cloudburst here. We need Cloudburst. Okay, we got everything. We're gonna heal. Again, this was quite fun. It's quite fun when the Earth Elemental works. It definitely is an insane amount of damage you can do with that. With Vesper Totem, you're looking at pretty good Resto Shaman damage. But I've done a video about Elemental Equilibrium, or I've tested Elemental Equilibrium Legendary, which is the Elemental Shaman Legendary that can be used for Resto Shaman to increase your damage. And overall, I think I prefer that legendary in terms of the gameplay that it provides, because I think it's a lot more interactive. There's another legendary that I need to test, which is the Chain Devastation legendary. A lot of people have been talking about that. The fact that you change... First of all, for people who are talking about Chain Devastation legendary, so when you use Chain Heal, you get to use Chain Lightning instant cast, Chain Heal instant cast, Chain Lightning instant cast. That legendary does not reduce the mana cost of your heals. And a lot of people get confused with that, because that legendary works differently for Elemental Shaman. For Elemental Shaman, you get free chain heals, so you technically, as an Elemental Shaman, you can spam chain heals like forever. And I've done videos about this where I just spam chain heals all day. So I do think that the Chain Devastation legendary definitely has synergy with your 4-set, because your 4-set is all about spamming chain heal. So straight away, synergy with that. The problem is that most of your 4-set cooldown reduction, so your chain heal crits are going to give you cooldown reduction. Every chain heal crit that bounces is going to reduce the cooldown of your totems. Most of your totem cooldown reduction is going to go into Cloudburst or something like Stone Totem, because you're going to be using that in Mythic Plus all the time. So the value of the Chain Devastation Legendary is also going to come down to how much do you value Cloudburst or something like a Stone Totem. Okay guys, we're doing it. Earth Elemental, Vesper Totem, proc my Vesper Totem damage, Intellect Potion, let's go guys, interrupt, proc Vesper, we're DPSing guys, we're DPSing, we're trying to, this dungeon honestly works really well with Earth Elemental. The cooldowns are going to align with most of the bosses. Only the first pull is kind of spicy, because once you first enter Halls of Atonement, you probably want to use your Earth Elemental at the start, and that first pull is going to be spicy, because your Earth Elemental can absolutely pull aggro, so something to keep in mind. We're just pumping right now, guys. Let's go. Lightning Bolt, Lava Burst. We have our Vesper Totem in 10 seconds. Do we proc it, or do we save it for the next room to pad damage? Do we pad, or do we actually do something? We don't pad. What do you think? What do you think I am, guys? What do you think I am? I should have interrupted that. That was my bad. Let's hope. Again, I use Cloudburst and he actually... Look at this. I use Cloudburst and it goes into the actual Cloudburst healing. So I have like 7k healing straight away. I need to go to the other room. If I use my Earth Elemental for the next room, I probably would have had... I don't even know how much DPS. If I really wanted to pad, I would have saved my Earth Elemental for the next room, and I would have used it to do probably like 25, 30k DPS. I'm not even kidding, it'd probably be 30k DPS easily. But the thing is, I will only get one usage of Earth Elemental. Now, I could have a second usage on the last boss, maybe halfway through the last boss or something. I'm gonna use Vesper Totem here. And I'm able to do damage and healing, and everything is going well. Okay, Earth Elemental. Go Earth Elemental! Actually pretty okay usage, to be honest. Not the worst. We're gonna proc our potion. I forgot to use it. Again, I'm not optimizing anything here. This is Tyrannical week, so the bosses last a lot longer. "30 seconds on Earth Elemental." 30 seconds. So we lost a little bit of the usage there, but it was definitely felt pretty decent. And again, the overall damage, you can see Vesper Totem still the king. Earthquake did around 12%. This is how much DPS I got from using a single legendary with a decent usage of Earth Elemental on a Tyrannical week. And I did a video on Elemental Equilibrium where I did a little bit less damage on a similar key, but on a fortified week. So I really don't want people to compare the overall DPS numbers, because as you can see right now, there's a lot of different factors and I'm not playing to a max potential. So testing all these legendaries, I definitely think there's a lot of combinations that are available for Resto Shaman. I tested out the Venti, I thought Venti was fun. I tested out Elemental Equilibrium, I thought that was probably my favorite in terms of playstyle. I'm not looking at the overall damage numbers because I talked about it throughout the videos. There's multiple different things that are almost reducing the damage to some extent, but keep that in mind, it's a big, like, you know, field crafting. But out of the gameplay, Elemental Equilibrium felt the most challenging and something that actually requires constant gameplay changes for Resto Shaman and Mythic Plus. Venti felt pretty fun in terms of buffing your whole group because of Wasteland Propriety. And I also tested out Earth Elemental, which, again, Earth Elemental on Tyrannical weeks, if you can use it properly, if you can heal it, does an insane amount of damage. Like, it just does an insane amount of damage. But if it dies, if you fail, it feels really, really bad and punishing. So I'm happy that Resto Shaman has so many options. Then I also should really try out Chain Devastation. Maybe that would be an interesting playstyle. I'm really happy that Resto Shaman in 9.2 has so many different options available. In Raid, I don't think it's as exciting, but it's really fun to play Resto Shaman in Mythic Plus, especially 9.2 when you have so many different options.